Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, sitting down to talk about the newly announced PlayStation Showcase, which I am extremely excited about because we get those state of plays every now and then. And the last couple of state of plays I feel have been pretty good, but when you know a showcase is coming around for PlayStation, oh man, prepare yourself for the peak fiction because it's about to come in spades. Because ladies and gentlemen, the last time we got a PlayStation Showcase was September of 2021. Think of it like the Nintendo Direct. They only come around so often, and PlayStation has struck today announcing a brand new one that's arriving next week. So I'm going to provide all the details on that, but also discuss the implications with the Xbox community, because of course we do skew more towards Xbox here on this channel, and there's no denying that after Redfall, after the Activision Blizzard deal and how it's gone thus far, with Xbox now having a leg to stand on thanks to the EU, there is a lot of expectations going into this showcase for Xbox that they've got to deliver. And I always warned people once the rumors started to pick up when it came to this PlayStation Showcase and how it was supposed to be at the end of May, which it's now confirmed to be, that if PlayStation gets to strike first, Xbox is already on their heels. Whoops. Xbox is already on their heels. And now, when you have a PlayStation Showcase potentially delivering ahead of that, the expectations are only going to rise. So Xbox has been the product of not only some of their own incompetence as of late, but honestly just some bad timing with like Redfall dropping so close to the showcase and now a PlayStation Showcase being so nearby. They're really going to have to deliver, and there's very little time to pivot. We'll talk about all that, from the information around the showcase to what I'm hoping to see, what I'm dreaming of seeing, and then, of course, what's going on with the Xbox community. So if you're new here, you're into Xbox, the occasional, very occasional, I'll be honest, PlayStation coverage, you're in the right place. Consider subscribing. So let's start off with the details for the PlayStation Showcase so you know where you got to be, when you got to be. Let's check that out right now, where it's announced on the PlayStation blog. It's almost time to see what's next. PlayStation Showcase broadcast live next Wednesday, May 24th at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 9 p.m. British time. The show will run a bit over an hour, focusing on PS5 and PSVR 2 games in development from top studios from around the world. Expect a glimpse at several new creations from PlayStation Studios, as well as spellbinding games from our third-party partners and indie creators. So the gap is pretty large between the last showcase and this one. And here we are now entering the summer, and we've had a lot of rumors surrounding PlayStation and what they're going to deliver. We're going to go through some of that, but what's Matty's hope and a prayer going into this showcase? Well, let's wind back the clock a little bit to the last PlayStation Showcase, and a lot of unfortunate stuff has happened between then and now with this game. But look, I know it got a bit of a reboot internally, possibly. We don't really have the full confirmation of that, but we do know a developer switch has been made with Knights of the Old Republic remake. I have been holding out for this showcase because I just feel like this is the only place it can get re-revealed, to kind of reassure fans it's still here on PlayStation. And probably more than anything, if we do get something, it would be more of a tease to say, hey, you know, this is a new developer that's working on it now. And again, just that re-upping of this is a PlayStation exclusive. As a Knights of the Old Republic fanboy, I know a lot of people go, well, this is in development hell, Matty, and it's switching developers, and all this is fair. If this were any other conceivable video game, I would be worried. And my little dose of copium is, after watching Dead Island 2 get passed around constantly and it ends up actually being really good, I have a sliver of hope that KOTOR remake might be great, but I just need this game to exist, man, all right? And any reminder of that, I will lose my mind over. So truly, to me, it feels like this, and then maybe like the THQ Showcase, because they're owned by the Embracer Group, might be a place that we could see some type of KOTOR remake re-reveal. But I feel like if we were to see this game, it would not be in a massive way. But that's also accounting for the fact that I'm expecting that they are rebooting parts of the game. And if what we've talked about with Dragon Age 4, with Dragon Age Dreadwolf, is anything to go by, then rebooting is going to restart the development timeline, and it's going to take even longer, which is painful. But if it hasn't been rebooted, then I feel like we could actually see it a little bit sooner. Because you got to remember, at last summer, Embracer was hinting that we were going to see gameplay of the KOTOR remake soon. They were in one pocket, and as it's now been reported, PlayStation and Disney seemingly were in an absolutely separate, completely disgusted pocket once they saw it and said, no, you ain't showing anything. But if they were ready to show gameplay, they had something prepared to present. And now you look at all this time that's passed, almost 1 year. It feels like forever for me. I feel like there is that slight copium possibility it could be there. I won't be disappointed if it's not, but I will lose my mind if it's there. So that's the unrealistic one I had to get off my chest. Of course, Spider-Man 2. It's been rumored for a while, since really Starfield solidified itself as a September title, that it's very well possible Spider-Man 2 and Starfield are going to go head to head. Again, what I said, Xbox is done a lot of bad things this year, but I think they've been the product of also some bad timing, and I think that would be bad timing for them as well, because there's no denying that Spider-Man 2 will easily go on to sell 20 million copies if the first one was anything to go by. But this is one that really we've been waiting a long time for. Miles Morales was great, but it was sort of the stopgap when we got the brand new generation of consoles. But a full-on Spider-Man game, oh man, it's been a hot minute, and I am so excited to see what they're cooking here, because there's been theories about co-op mechanics or theories about switching between the two Spider-Men during the main story. Also, the inclusion of Venom, one of my favorite villains. I mean, I would lose it if I saw Carnage at any point, because I feel like we're yet to see a big screen proper rendition of Carnage. I remember the Venom movie with Carnage, and it was, to me, kind of underwhelming, because you got to get a little bloody and M-rated to capture Carnage well, naturally, right? And so I've just been consistently disappointed with his big screen presentation. So I truly hope that if Carnage does show up, and of course we know Venom's going to be in the game, that they capture the brutality well. But I feel like this is one we're going to see, and when we do see it, I think it's going to be soon. Because if the cycle of God of War Ragnarok was anything to go by, PlayStation has no problem waiting to tell you the release date, and it's going to be soon. And then when you see Ragnarok go on to sell the amount of millions of copies it did, I mean, they have no reason to change their pattern. So this is going to be a big deal. This is going to be a huge announcement, and I absolutely think it's going to be at this showcase. Another one that's been rumored for a really long time now, but seems to be really heating up if reports from Video Game Chronicles, as well as my good friend Jez Corden from Windows Central Gaming, is anything to go by, Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake. Now, some have speculated maybe it's the first one, but Metal Gear Solid is weird if you didn't know this, and like the third game is actually the beginning of the timeline, which is something I forgot until I had a brief conversation with a friend. Went, oh right, so it kind of makes sense to remake that first, I guess, but calling it 3, strange. But nonetheless, Konami is back. They've been in bed with PlayStation when you look at things like Silent Hill. They've been teaming up with them consistently. It only makes sense that this is going to be some type of exclusive. Again, this will put the pressure on Xbox, because yet another Japanese publisher who just re-entered the market after being gone for so long outside of pachinko machines is now back, and PlayStation wisely scoops them up. So we'll see what it ends up being, but this is a game I don't have a ton of nostalgia for, because I got to it really late. I remember getting into Metal Gear in the early 2010s with my PS Vita. The HD collection there is my favorite way to play that game. I think it's the best way to play it, but I've always been an MGS2 kind of guy. Like, I don't know if that's a hot take or not. I don't really pay attention to the MGS community, but I think the story is very thought-provoking. I am a huge Raiden fan. I think the gameplay is rock solid. To me, it's like Kojima at his best, alongside Metal Gear Solid 3 being my second favorite. I just feel like these two are very video gamey, but at the same time tell compelling stories. And especially MGS3's boss fights are awesome. Like the sniper battle, for example, so cool. That one sticks out immediately in my head. But right now, the Metal Gear Solid HD collection is delisted, and Konami said to be back soon because of licensing issues, and it just, re-up it. But now that we've seen these remake rumors propping up again, it reminds me a bit of what EA did with Dead Space, where Dead Space 2 and 3 got FPS boost. And I know there are technical hurdles you'd have to go over to get FPS boost running, but coincidentally, Dead Space 1 didn't get FPS boost on Xbox. Then the remake came around. And I always found that fishy. And I'm getting that same vibe here. Like, oh man, shucks. Gotta delist the HD collection. Guess you can't get it. Oh, hey, check out that remake over there. That's pretty cool, huh? I don't know. That's just me sussing something out. But I'm expecting to see MGS3 remake here. There's also the rumored PlayStation handheld called the Q Lite, which is a remote play device for the PlayStation. This is one I am stoked for. The Vita is one of my favorite handhelds ever, next to the Game Boy Advance. I think it's super underrated still. I think a lot of people have just deemed it as a weaker PS3, and I think that's a fair synopsis. But a lot of exclusive games still lie there, like Freedom Wars, which are, I think, really what define that system. And if you're a JRPG fan, I still think it's a fantastic system. When you combine that with, of course, the downloadable PSP games, it's still great. You know, it's expensive now, especially with the PS Vita TV, but it's still wonderful. And to see PlayStation maybe hanging around for some type of streaming device is not maybe the Vita successor I really dreamed of, but I can get behind this because of my experience with the Logitech G Cloud gaming handheld. That thing was really a big perspective shift for me. I will fully say I did do a sponsored video for them, but I used it for 4 or 5 months before I did the sponsored video, so I was able to develop my own opinion on it. It really augmented how I divide up my playing time. Often I'm in these computer chairs working or playing games, so when I just want to lay down and play games, oftentimes with consoles, that was not a good option for me. And PlayStation doesn't really have a good streaming option. With the Logitech G Cloud, you can get a app for $6 called PS Play. I've tried it out with Octopath 2. Not great. With something with handheld built in mind for the PS5, though, this Q Lite, I think, will be at the showcase in terms of a presentation, a companion device, and I'm excited to see what else it does when we get more official information. There was also the leak of a PlayStation 5 with a detachable disk drive attachment, and then also the PS5 Pro being in development that could release in late 2024. So I expect to see some new hardware as well. And all of this I say before what I imagine for most of my viewers are here for, to talk about Xbox a bit, is that is seismic. All of those, KOTOR remake aside, which is just a Matty hope and a wish, all of those are very possible, very tangible, and very exciting, okay? They bring a lot of attention to your ecosystem. Now, I have a lot of faith in Xbox, but there's no denying that after this showcase, and I'm not trying to get in a measuring contest, if you catch my drift here, but there's no doubt that people are going to size up the showcase from PlayStation, the showcase from Xbox. And Xbox has to be aware of that. They have this tendency to play dumb and kind of go like, what do you mean? We're not competing with them. Stop. You know how people are going to size you up. Of course, it's important to measure your own success by your own standards, but there's going to be competition here, no doubt about it. When PlayStation's likely going to strike, and I have confidence in saying, with a pretty dang good showcase, at least with games that are exciting, you know, I feel like Xbox has the chance to be on their heels. Now, the offset here is if Xbox comes out and establishes their first party, as they absolutely should, and as Phil Spencer practically promised, then you can pretty much rest assured that both these teams will have great showcases, which is where we all win. But I say all that because I do worry a bit for Xbox. You know, I think about the very realistic possibility that PlayStation Showcase comes out and it's strong. Xbox's showcase comes around and it's a lot of things we've seen before, updates on things we've seen before, and maybe it feels a little flat. Like, these are equal possibilities. Now, is it also possible PlayStation delivers a dud? Yes, but I just think with the things in the pipeline, it's almost silly to think that they're going to come out with nothing. They're guaranteed to have at least one pretty wow level announcement, even if it's been reported in a Metal Gear Solid style remake. And they're guaranteed to have, I think, an amazing first party showing in Spider-Man 2. And that's kind of all you really need to carry the conversation following the showcase. And then if you got hardware in the mix there, I mean, again, they can just straight up dominate the conversation heading into the showcase, which maybe Xbox would prefer as of this moment in time. But for Xbox, they can also have the showcase of dreams I've talked about, which is first party, first party, first party, first party. What's Compulsion up to? What's Ninja Theory up to? What's Playground up to? What is Bethesda Game Studios up to? I mean, they have a lot to show, no doubt about it. I'm really crossing my fingers for them, but no doubt the heat is on. This is a big move by PlayStation, especially striking ahead of Xbox, but we'll see how the conversation goes once it's all said and done. I'm looking forward to both. I'll be streaming both. I'll be reacting to both, and I'll be making many videos about both. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, take excellent care of yourselves. Let me know your thoughts down below. And other than that, be sure to follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram. Those links are in the description down below. And a big thank you to all the patrons, all the members who continue to support the heck out of the content here. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.